Hi, this is Sherry, and I was going to do a Facebook Live last night, but I realised in the end it was really quite late, and I was fiddling about because I realised I have a little bug in the software that I use to set up the emails, and yesterday some of you might have got a wrong link or two. I've forgotten that bug from last year, but now that I remembered, then hopefully all the other links will be correct. I've had some amazing feedback about the conference so far, so I'm really loving that you're loving it. One mum had written that the interview with Julia Carter about burnout had, that she was in tears listening to that. So I really do encourage you to take the opportunity to listen to as many of these wonderful speakers, because you might not get the opportunity very often. So the other speakers that we had yesterday, so let me just check my notes here. So Ruth Douglas, if you're a single parent, then I think you'll really love the interview that we had with Ruth yesterday morning, who talks about the challenges of being a single parent, but also some of the freedoms that brings as well, which I hadn't really thought about that from that point of view. The freedom, you don't have to check in with somebody else on decisions. And I guess that perhaps depends on the relationship you have with your children's father or child's father. And then Inga yesterday, lunchtime. Oh my goodness, so many light bulb moments for me about gender communication and gender differences, the way that we behave. I thought it was fascinating to hear whether or not this is nature or nurture. And my impression from what she told us was that actually it's kind of a combination of both, that because of our nature we then tend to nurture our babies in a certain way depending on whether they're male or female. So that was absolutely fascinating. I got some real light bulb moments from my time at my law firm, and because we had my job was based in Chicago in the last sort of 5 or 6 years at that firm, and we had a lot of ex-military men in the management team, and I'd read Deborah Tannen's book all about communication and the gender differences. She talks about gender lacked, the difference, the way that we talk. And some of the guys in the organisation were very much, if Jeff, our boss, said jump, they would just say how high, and I'd say, I'm just wondering about this jump thing. What's the reason for it? Why are we doing it? And I would ask so many questions. And now, from what Inga was saying yesterday, that apparently is part of my... I thought it was because I wasn't ex-military, but it seems from what Inga was saying, actually that's because I'm a woman, and I'm proud to be a woman. And then yesterday evening, so many women tell me when I'm working with them that actually they're scared of dealing with their finances. And I know Rebecca finds that too. I'm sorry, I keep looking down because to get better light today, I've balanced my phone on top of some books on top of my rat cage, and the rats are all climbing up to see what on earth I'm doing. So I'm just keeping an eye to make sure they're not chewing the books and the phone that I'm balanced on here. Rebecca Robertson yesterday was talking about how to become financially savvy, some really practical tips, and also explaining how even though women might be scared of investing, actually we tend to make safer investments because we tend to go for a different type of investment, a different profile risk. Hello, Lily. And then, so today, some fabulous interviews today. I mean, all my interviews are fabulous, and I'm very conscious that I want to say about all of the interviews, this is my favourite. But actually, they're all my favourites, but I do think today I really do have some favourites. So this morning, 10 o'clock, Stephanie from Inclusivity. Stephanie's brilliant. She's got some really practical tips on becoming your own recruiter. So how to get the most impact from your CV, kind of the things to look out for. She comes from a very, very experienced, long, been in recruitment for a long, long time. And we discussed how perhaps businesses have become more amenable to flexible working, but also we discussed when is the time to ask about flexible working, which puts me in mind, I was at the launch of CMI Women back in early December, I think that was a few weeks ago now. And one of the women there was talking about, and she was a global head at a bank, and she was talking about, if she'd only ever applied for the jobs that stated flexible working, she would never have found work. And so I think very much it is about, finding the job and then asking about flexible working. And some employers aren't good about putting that on their websites, about their policies on flexible working or family friendly policies. And I think that's something all of us need to encourage our own employers to do that. So what else? Yeah, but Stephanie had some, so if you're looking for work or going to be looking for work soon, definitely encourage you to listen to Stephanie's one. She's what's known as a reverse headhunter, so it's brilliant because you go and tell her what you're good at, what you're fantastic at, what your strengths are, what you love to do, the type of organisation you want to work for, and then she goes and finds that organisation for you. How brilliant is that? So really do look her up if you're looking for work. In fact, I'm tempted to go and talk to her myself because I love working. For many years I've done a portfolio career and run my business, but also had a small part-time job on the side because I like to feel that I'm still part of the city, and it kind of keeps me in contact with what's going on. And then lunchtime today we've got Rachel Carroll. Rachel runs a tech startup focusing on helping parents share their nannies in London. Now, if you have a nanny or thought about getting a nanny, recruiting and then looking after all that admin-y type stuff is a bit of a headache. So that's what she helps. So really this was a career change story. She'd become a mother, then realised how tough it can be when you're a mother. She's got a doctorate in development from Oxford, where she was a Rhodes Scholar. So that's what she talks about, childcare, what the important things to think about childcare, some of the challenges, and obviously a lot of you know what those challenges are, but really fascinating to hear from a different person's perspective. And then finally, in the evening tonight, now I listened again to this interview last night with Sue Revel from Magenta Change. Sue, I worked with Sue for a little bit last year, and I've worked with her kind of on and off, never really on a long-term basis, although I really would love to. She's got a lovely way with her, and we had a fascinating conversation. We used up the full hour, and in fact after we'd stopped recording we carried on chatting for another 45 minutes. But we talk about values, we talk about purpose, we talk about what it means to be an unstoppable leader. And I think the things that stood out for me was these 3 principles that she talks about: personal responsibility, mental skills mastery, so your mindset, dealing with your mental monkeys, and personal leadership, so how we manage, how we self-lead. And she talks about leaning into the inner edge. So you might have read Sheryl Sandberg, I'm reading that at the moment, talking about leaning in, and she talks about leaning into the inner edge. And being in flow, what do we mean by that? How do we repeat that feeling? I know for me, the days that I'm in flow, like now, I'm talking now, and I love doing Facebook Lives, even though I only started doing them a week ago. I just love sharing my knowledge, sharing my expertise, sharing what I've learned with women like you. So she talks about the basic steps that we can do to kind of take control of ourselves, and values and purpose. And as a coach, understanding values and purpose is I'm quite conscious that in the interview we use some coachy terms, so do try to explain those, but really do encourage you to listen to that one. I find when I work with Sue, every time I work with Sue, I get some sort of light bulb moment. And she's talking about running her flow challenge again this year, and if she does, and if you get the chance, I really recommend that, because that was how I discovered that authenticity for me is a core value. How on earth I hadn't realised that previously, I just don't know. And in fact, even this week on Monday, I was running a workshop at the Royal College of Physicians, and we were talking about what's most important to you about being a mum. It was a work-life balance workshop for parents. And even as I was talking, and for me, baking a cake is really important for me. That's the one thing as a mother I want to do. And I suddenly thought, it's the authenticity of a home-baked cake that's really important to me. And so I'd had this conversation with Sue the previous week, and yet again, another light bulb moment. So do encourage you to listen to that one. I love that you've been listening to these interviews so far. Some of you have been buying the interviews. All of the interviews are available for 48 hours after broadcast, but if you want access to the full set of interviews to keep forever, to go back and dip in whenever you want. Then you can buy the box set, which is available at a discount throughout the conference. Actually, I did the pricing wrong on the box set. Normally I sell the box set at £27 during the conference. Normally it sells for £47. I did a mistake on the pricing up front, and actually you're getting it for £19. But today, for this weekend only, I'm sending you out an email later, and you can get the full set of the box set for this year, for last year and the year before, and I'm doing it for £67. You're getting three libraries of interviews, and so you're getting, it must be about 70 to 80 interviews, because in January 2015 I carried on doing a few interviews every month as well. So look out for that offer that's being sent out later this morning. But yeah, do send me your feedback about what you're getting from the conference. The speakers love to hear what you think, what you're getting out of it. And Clara's asking, will the interviews be in another book? Don't know about that. Thinking about it. I am planning another book on women, confident leadership for women, but that's not going to be until 2018, doing my research this year. Yeah, so I might think about another book, Clara, because I really did enjoy that book, but it's hard work writing a book. So anyway, thank you for listening to me today. I might carry on doing these Facebook Lives in the morning because I get better light in my room. Even though at the start of this interview, if you watched it from the start, I'm worrying about whether or not the rats are going to come and chew all my books. Thankfully, they got a bit bored and they've gone back to bed. All right, thank you very much, everybody, and speak to you soon. Enjoy a fabulous weekend.